Couple last things here. Leonard Floyd looked incredible at practice the other day. His pressure rate is almost identical if you look at the last year's pressure rate to the year before. This is a guy, he misses some tackles. He missed 36.7% of tackle attempts, which was easily the highest rate among any defensive player with 400 or more snaps. But, man, this guy gets a lot of pressure, and it's pretty consistent. And if you look at his pressure rates, they stay level, throughout the last 4 or 5 years. His pass rush snaps, 1,796. His sacks, 39.5, and his pressure rate, 11%, over the past 4 seasons, align with those of Brian Burns, who, if you said to most people, hey, the Niners got Brian Burns, would you be happy? It's like, oh, hell yeah. Well, you know what? Really, Leonard Floyd's got numbers that are right there with Brian Burns, and yet he's got a $10 million price tag, which is a lot more reasonable than what Burns is making. What kind of year do you think Floyd's going to have?
Larry, did you just say we got McDonald's at home? Did you just give us the same equivalent? You want Burns?
I don't want.
You want Burns?
I want McDonald's. I don't want.
We got Floyd for the season. You ain't getting no Burns. We got perfectly good Floyd at home.
That's right. Floyd had 39.5 sacks over the last 4 seasons, only 38.5 for Burns, 13% pressure rate for Burns, 11% for Floyd, 1,796 snaps for Floyd, 1,688 for Burns. Very comparable stats, really. I mean, I think in a lot of ways, Niner fans ought to be a little bit more jacked about the presence of Leonard Floyd than. If we had Brian Burns, you'd be hearing, oh, my God, Brian Burns and Bose on the same team. But Floyd, in a lot of ways, is the best defensive end the Niners have had in a long time.
Yeah, he is. He gives us a lot of production. We haven't had anything like that type of consistency in a while. And really, we've been trying to get this since D Ford. I mean, the idea was to be able to get D Ford or be able to get a requisite talent on the other side to be able to marry what we had already invested in Nick Bosa. And by hook or crook, we've done it at times, right? Where we had the Charles Omenihu's in here. We did the Chase Youngs and we did the Randy Gregory's and we got guys in here and tried to move for D Ford. And, right now, as far as consistency is concerned, we really just been kind of piecemealing it on the other side. This, even though he is longer in the tooth and he's in his 30s, this is something that we have to see if he can, give us another year. He may fall off. You never know. But this is the type of consistency that you would like to see. One thing that I am happy about is that I know we hear about Floyd. I know we've been hearing about Leonard Floyd a lot, but my dark horse right now is Yetur Gross-Matos. Like, I think that him coming in and being able to come behind Leonard Floyd and be a mentee and understand how to go about the game. One thing about Matos, he was a second-round pick. He was I think he was rated as the most improved player for the Carolina Panthers last year. He's on an arc where he's pointing up. I think the reason why they traded him is that because they just didn't think that he was worth the money for what they wanted to do with the team. But I believe that Yetur Gross-Matos behind Leonard Floyd, that's going to be a good tandem. Let's just keep them healthy. But I like what they bring over there on that side. And there's versatility where these guys are good in the run game. What you expect out of Leonard Floyd in the run game leaves a little bit more to be desired. And that's where I feel like Gross-Matos is going to be able to come and pick up and bring up the rear. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I love Yetur Gross-Matos and the way he looked in the mini camp and Floyd as well. I will say this, though, and I don't know how you feel about this, Coach, but there are certain positions on the team where I think you got to invest in the youth, right? Like, you can't cut. I don't care what he looks like this summer. You can't cut Dominic Pooney. You got to take a look at some of your young players. You got to give, even if they're not quite on the same level as the older players. You got to invest in some areas on your roster and some young players. But one area where I don't know how you feel, but I kind of feel like I'm done investing and it's time to produce is with Beal and Drake Jackson. And I love Drake Jackson and Beal's a good dude. But, I mean, these guys, there's no more scholarship available. And I was reading here, they were talking about players that potentially could get cut after June 1st. And one of the guys on the list is Von Miller from Buffalo. They signed him to a 6-year, $120 million contract in 2022. And he had 10 tackles for loss and 8 sacks and 1 forced fumble in the first 2 years of the contract. He's missed 10 games over the last 2 years. He has not been the difference maker that he was earlier. And this offseason, Buffalo added Dawan Smoot from Jacksonville. They drafted Dwayne Carter, Mr. Duke. Or I should say Dwayne Carter. Is he from, maybe I'm thinking Kentucky. Or is he the Duke guy? But either way, they also had a Javon Solomon from Troy, who's a major edge rusher. And they're saying questions about Von Miller's health and his ability to be an effective pass rusher. The Bills, they say, could cut their losses and release him post June 1st and save $280,000 in cap space and reducing his dead cap hit from 30.2 to 14.8, according to Over the Cap. If the Niners get to the summer and Drake Jackson hasn't improved, isn't healthy, Robert Beal doesn't, I don't want to go with those guys anymore. If those guys look like they can do it, then fine, but no more scholarship. And if there's Von Millers out there and guys like that who you think you can get at the end of camp, and you might have to give away a roster spot that belongs to Drake or to Beal, I'm willing to do it just because I just don't think that it's in the Niners' best interest to keep waiting around. Beal, is a part-time player at Georgia. This is now year 3 for Drake. He had a great week 1, then he evaporated. No more waiting around for Drake or for Beal. If they show it and they do it and it's time to go and they produce, fine. If they don't, I'm looking for veteran alternatives everywhere. And if I can find a Von Miller, I'd rather take a chance on old Von Miller if Drake and Beal haven't improved. Where are you on those two guys?
Well, they get one more year, especially for Drake. I think Robert Beal has actually shown some ability to be able to pop. I think that he's strong. He definitely has the skill set. Now, this is the difference. In my opinion, Robert has the skill set. He just needs the reps, right? And with Drake, he's gotten the reps, but he needs to build the skill set, right? He's got to get his body together. He's been moved around from position to position, right? He's been standing up. Then he had his hand in the dirt. And one time he was at the 5. Now one time he was at the 3 at one time. So he's been in and out. For me, I believe the writing on the wall would be for Drake. I'm not even waiting to this offseason. The writing on the wall for Drake is how he comes into camp. If automatically his body isn't there, I'm done with it. I'm done. He's had 3 years to get it together. He's had 2 off seasons and a combine to understand where we need him to be. I wash my hands of it. Robert Beal, I don't think Robert Beal Jr. has a body issue. I think he actually is NFL ready. I think, honestly, he just needs the reps to get on the field so we can see what he is or what he's not. But, yeah, the time is ticking for both of them, more so Drake than Robert. But right now, I will tell you is that teams are built by the development of their young players. And if we can't get anything out of those guys, the level of scrutiny for them should be a little bit higher than everybody else, because that's how we have built our team. We built our team from the trenches out, primarily with that front 7 and that defensive line.
And I have hope for Jackson and for Beal, but I'm just saying, you know what? It's like, some do, some don't, some will, some won't. You don't get forever. I'm looking at the cut down. There's going to be interesting guys, young and old, who are cut free. And if you got a draftable grade on some guy and you think he's pretty good and you're not seeing improvement out of Drake and Beal, I say be decisive there and get the best players you can on the field.